Ring, 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 ring. Phone call, phone call. Ring, 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 ring. Phone call, phone call.
Hello, you have won an island resort vacation to the Alola region.
Immediately hangs up.
I like how they just took the Hawaiian word for hello and turned it into a country name by switching one of the letters around. That's some great naming.
Well, to be fair, that's actually more creative than the old games because Kanto and Johto are actual Japanese areas.
Yeah, I know. and that was before they were pretending that the Pokemon regions were outside of Japan or some fantasy universe that didn't exist.
Oh, it gets even more confusing in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Lewis.
Are you ready for time travel and alternate dimension plots in Pokemon? Because I wasn't.
Hey, we already had that. Sure, it was
I was gonna say,
unlockable side stuff that you could only get if you got a special Pokemon.
Episode Delta hinted at it, but never outright confirmed it. Ultra Sun and Moon Ultra outright confirms it.
Oh, well, I guess there was the time traveling in the Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but really all that was just like watching Silver go, I hate you, Dad. You're not the boss of me.
Also, didn't we deal with like different dimensions in Platinum?
Well, there was like
not quite.
There was like the 3D graphics.
We'll get to Platinum because ultimately I recorded that as well.
Yeah, Ryan's right. Shut this conversation down because fuck, get an answer for what I have.
You go
to say.
by what is your name?
At this point,
my name for this character is Conrad Veet. Ultimately, if you know this game, you know that the trainer, aside from like 2 particular cutscenes, no matter how serious, always has this blank smile on their face. Now, naming him Joker would be a bit on the nose, so I named him Conrad Veet, the actor in The Man Who Laughs that Joker was based off of.
Oh, so he stares the Stares the Abyss is Conrad Veet's first Pokemon. Okay, I get it now.
Or Conrad Veet's pet.
So yeah, this is Pokemon Moon. It's been a while since we've done a Pokemon game, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because screw Emerald.
Try... Shit, it was Leaf Green was the last Pokemon game we did, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was...
I remember those days. I started the game and then
with you turtling, Brock.
Yeah, I wanted to do it leisurely. I wanted to explore the world, but it turns out that that's not a very good way to do an RPG.
By part 36, we realized, okay, we just finished Misty.
Well, if it were a live Let's Play, then it would have been feasible. You can pace yourself as you commentate, but we were doing that post-com, so it was a bad idea. Yeah. And I apologize retroactively for it.
Now, I think I probably gave you crap. No, I definitely gave you crap during that playthrough, but I'm actually going to retroactively ungive you crap because I found that using less than great Pokemon is actually a really fun way to play these games. Like, when I was playing Ultra Moon for the first half of the game, I actually used an Ekans and an Arbok, which is like... Those Pokemon are terrible, but I actually grew really attached to that little guy. I named him Snack.
Well, yeah, when I play Pokemon, I prefer single player. I prefer to play single player because the computer doesn't care how optimal your party is.
Oh, no, you win.
That's 90% of the players.
You can be as creative and as unorthodox as you want.
If you want to win in a competitive battle, you're going to spend like a good 60 hours just running in circles outside of the daycare. Like, if they were to do if they were going to do the bringing back an old trainer to fight again, it wouldn't be like Red wouldn't be hanging out on the top of Mount Silver. He'd be running around in circles outside the daycare, and he would say, "No, I'm not ready to fight you yet. This Machamp only has 30 EVs, and he needs 31 in strength. Otherwise, he's just not going to be good enough." So yeah, you're going to give me like another 3 hours.
Need that many EVs?
Anyway, it's good to see that Pokemon has finally joined us in the PlayStation 2 era of RPG design.
Can I just say,
technically that was X and Y, but no one cares about X and Y.
No, X and Y was PlayStation 1 with its chibi, weirdly disproportionate models.
X and Y broke out into 3D at last, but it didn't really go to the PlayStation 2 lengths with the camera angles and the way the world design works and the animation and production values.
You were essentially you're still almost locked into a grid-based movement system. Not entirely grid-based, but
you can
it
move
was still
diagonally.
pretty much like up and down.
It was bridging
this sort of thing. Yeah. Can I say though? I mean, it's not so noticeable when you're playing this on an actual 3DS or 3DS XL. This game looks horrible blown up.
Yes, it does. Textures, you mean like all 3DS games?
Well, but this game in particular looks horrible blown up.
Some fare a little bit better than others, but for some, there's a lot of like pixelation going on when you blow up.
Yeah, it kind of... There's a weird element to this game's art style where it kind of looks like they had intended everything to be viewed from a distance, but then switched mid-development to a more dynamic camera
Text speed to fast, first thing you do in every Pokemon game.
So what we're looking at here is kind of like a game that was meant to be viewed top-down, being viewed from a Final Fantasy X camera perspective. It doesn't really work all the way like it should.
So fun fact, that Wii U is a Switch in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because Nintendo knows.
No, the fun fact about that is you have a Switch, but Team Skull is full of Wii U's.
Losers.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I think we should mention that as well, because I know at the time of this recording this commentary, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon have already been out for a couple of weeks now, and people might be wondering why we're just not doing those versions of the game instead of doing.
This has a better story.
This does have a better.
So,
we didn't know that when you recorded this. This was just the one that
that leads into what I was going to ask. Is because I've been hearing conflicting reports about it. Is Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon not quite the Emerald and Platinum of Sun and Moon?
It's weird. It's because it does a lot of. Here's the thing. To me specifically, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon does a lot of little things better than Vanilla Sun and Moon, but it does a handful of big things much worse. So if you don't mind the second half of the story not being as emotionally effective, you probably will like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon more. But if you care more about the story and you're playing Vanilla Ultra Sun and Moon, especially after having played Ultra, a lot of areas are going to feel more empty. There's a lot of like small little side quests with NPCs where, like you'll be finding a Pokemon for them. Like there's a Meowth that's hiding and you find them. And there's like little scenes where like a Pokemon's attacking the mall, or you have to make these two Pokemon fall in love or something. They're all really cute. The rewards aren't great, but they're all really cute little scenes, and they're not in Vanilla Sun and Moon. But it's just also the major changes are unanimously worse, and I'm sure we'll be talking about those when we get to that point.
When we get to more story stuff.
Because the game is Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are also still relatively new, and I don't want to spoil that Trainer Red is the bad guy in Part 1. Like that would just ruin it.
Well, in any case, one of the things that I liked right off the bat, and I know X and Y did this to an extent as well, but I really felt like in Pokemon Sun and Moon, you can make your trainer your own.
Sort of.
Sort of, yeah. Like you can really mix it up with their customizations.
It was a neat idea that they really didn't do much with in XY. They expanded upon it here in Sun and Moon. They need to go further with it in whatever Gen 8 for Switch will be.
Yeah. Although, I can't knock too many points off for them not doing much with it, because there is an inherent design problem with character customization in games that very few games have surmounted to any noticeable extent. Like, once you give the player free reign to control who the character is, you then have to either hand wave away or program in the differences between for what that would mean. And for a game like Pokemon, where you're basically a silent protagonist no matter what, you can get away with cutting a lot of corners in that regard. So it's not as jarring when, say, your main character is keeping this stupid ass smile on their face all the time and doing and saying nothing of consequence in Pokemon, as it is in, say, Dragon Age Inquisition, where I had a serious problem with how bland your main character was, no matter who you made them.
Oh, so that's actually so there's actually a funny comic. I think it's an Awkward Zombie comic where in Bravely Default, when you change jobs, you change outfits, and then there's this one of them, like you have a wolf's head, and the character's in this cemetery talking to a guy who just lost his son. He's like, "I'm so sorry," and then the guy goes, "What the fuck are you wearing?" So you get that.
That's a lot of things. Pokemon's in a weird position where Lewis mentioned the silent protagonist, but I feel like you don't need to do that much in terms of like close-in styles in a sense. I just want more upfront.
Yeah.
Like if someone wears glasses, you should allow them to choose if they wear glasses or not. you should give them a few options for hairstyles, you know?
Yeah, not all.
For God's sakes, can we get some fucking emotes?
Yeah.
You start out with, you know, your bitch basic trainer costume, and that's all you get. The only thing you really have control of at the start is, like, your skin tone and hair color.
Hey, I like basic bitch.
Yeah. The only thing that can't be changed at any point is also skin tone. You can change eye color and hair color, but not skin tone.
Can't get a spray tan.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of like it didn't take me long to find an outfit for my trainer girl that I really liked, but that's because my sense of aesthetics is more basic. I like simple but elegant looks, so I was able to find pretty much everything I needed for that in the first store.
No, there's plenty of options in the game overall. It's just there needs to be more when you start out.
I
feel it's too limited.
You see, what's frustrating is that X and Y actually has more outfits in total than Sun and Moon, which is aggravating. And the other thing is that if you're the boy, and this is a case in both X and Y, you get nothing, basically. And, you know, something really irritating as well, since I have long hair, the female hair options look better for me than the male ones do. And games like Animal Crossing actually do let male characters have female hairstyles and vice versa. So I wish I wish that the game would just let you wear whatever you want regardless of gender.
Some games go as far as to let the male characters put on makeup if the player so chooses. It's great when games let you do that because it's simultaneously inclusive and potentially hilarious depending on what the player's attitude is. It's something that can adapt itself to whatever the gamer wants in their game.
Yeah.
So there's no reason not to do it.
Yeah, the girls get makeup too, and guys don't get that as well. So basically, if you want to dress up your trainer, which, I mean, that is a relatively...
You have to be a girl.
You basically should just pick the girl, all things considered. Because I think in
Don't even get an option for a hairy chest.
Dude, these guys are like 12.
I've had hair on my chest when I was 13.
In any case...
Hi, Galaxy Fart.
In any case, yeah, this is our storyline. I'll be honest, I haven't played very far into my own copy of... Oh, which one do I own? Sun or Moon? Oh, my own copy of this...
Why is it always Spearow? Why can't we ever have any evil Pidgey?
It's like you just may think the girl is just being a nag or telling Nebby to stay in the bag, but no, it's like as soon as he gets out of the bag, shit immediately goes down.
You can see an item in the distance, but you can't go there until post-game.
What's wrong? What's wrong with you? You keep staring at me. Stop.
In any case, this is not the most revolutionary plot opener. You know, mysterious girl with mysterious power, or in this case, mysterious Pokemon, gets waylaid on the road, and you're a random shonen protagonist who randomly shows up to save them, and everything snowballs from there. It's probably top 10 on the list of most common JRPG tropes.
Other than waking up
with the bridge
to start
that
the
falls
game
down during the rescue.
Or being amnesiac.
Yeah. Wild Arms 5 has, like, all of them. He
emotes!
It, like, went down the whole checklist and marked them all down.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, get him, Gohan.
Seriously, though, Lily is, like, one of the best characters in the series. I mean, granted...
Yes, she is.
Pokemon isn't exactly a series known for particularly well-developed three-dimensional characters, but, like... Damn it, Lily is
you
really
have to give credit
still.
where it's due.
Yeah, I think, like, it wasn't like Black and White was the only one that really put in that much effort as far as that was concerned.
Yeah, Black and White 1 specifically, because honestly, like, after replaying it, Black and White 2's story is not very good, unfortunately.
Yeah. I will say, I don't necessarily need every Pokemon game to be as serious and, multi-layered as the plot in Black and White. I'm glad that there is at least one Pokemon game that went there, because, now the people who want that kind of story in a Pokemon game have that kind of story in a Pokemon game.
Well, Sun and Moon, I'd say,
there's a difference
between
between there's a difference between deep story and good story in a sense, because Like, Gold and Silver, not terribly deep, but still a good
story. Yeah.
Overall story.
And the world building in that game is fantastic too. That's not really.
Yeah.
Plot,
meanwhile, you get to X and Y, where the story is just straight garbage.
But it's a much bigger deal than say Gold and Silver there as well.
Yeah. Well, X and Y is a different matter because it kind of seems like they spent so much time finally making the game 3D that they forgot to design everything else. So
that's honestly what it feels like. Yes.
But yeah, in a Sun and Moon's case, I feel like they got a decent enough happy medium between seriousness in the storytelling, just overall quality in the storytelling, and keeping a lighthearted Pokemon adventure feeling going.
Yeah, nothing.
Yes, they did.
Props on that one.
If we never go to Pokemon Coliseum lengths again, it'll be too soon.
You mean Edgy the Hedgies?
Pokemon Coliseum.
Team snag 'em.
It is the Shadow the Hedgehog of Pokemon. Oh god.
I still need to play that game.
They're not good. They're not awful, but they're not good games.
I know.
I hope you like double battles. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope you like double
they're
battles.
still on my bucket list. I need to cross them off.
Shirt on.
Personal reasons. Personal reasons. Personal reasons. I love that comic.
Well, this is supposed to be, a Hawaii analog, which is an interesting choice for a Pokemon game, I will say.
Basically, wherever the Pokemon team went on vacation last is where they're making.
more or less. I think Junichi was last seen on vacation in like Prague or something.
Oh, that's
according to his Twitter.
So, I'm glad we finally went to Hawaii. I wish we would have gone to Hawaii before we went to America Land because, the map in that particular generation was about as boring as the map in New York City should be.
So where did Junichi go this time for vacation? Chernobyl. Ooh.
Junichi went to the moon.
By that you mean he spent the weekend in his room playing Stalker, right?
Oh, so that's why it's called Moon.
He needs to at one point just troll the entire fan base and announce he's going to some really offbeat place on vacation,
New Jersey,
and get them in a tizzy, and then post a picture. Psych, I'm in London or something.
Okay, so
oh boy, we'll be getting the part's almost over, so we'll be getting to our 3 stars, and yes, I will be using all of them.
You see, but here's the thing: I love Sun and Moon, but the beginning is very slow. It's slow. I will say it's slow the second time because I do think that the world is engaging the first time, but when you already know this stuff, you're like, yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like a shorter version of a Persona game's opening.
Or it's kind of like Final Fantasy. It's kind of like Final Fantasy 9 a little bit.
A lot of
Final
RPGs have that issue.
Example, but it's a lot of RPGs, but there aren't very many where I go back the second time and honestly feel a drag when I go through that segment of the game.
Well, that happens with a lot of my favorite games, like Paper Mario Prologues. I'm always mashing through to skip the text in those and things like that.
You see, I would have called that an American Idol cut. What Ryan was trying to do that with the 3 starters. Find out next time who he picks first. But you can clearly hear the select prompt before he chooses.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
Thanks, Ryan. It's great.
I already said I'm using all 3 of them anyway.
We'll find out after the break. It's George.
As for that,
George won.
I always go for the fire starter, and in this case, they gave us a really good fire starter.
We can. Yeah, we can. Okay,
we'll get
can
into
start
that
going
next
into that one. I can't wait because that's going to make or break this commentary.